There we go. All right, so what I want to talk about is anything that's on your mind, and in addition to that, we want to talk about the final project. So how many of you have looked ahead to see what it is that you're supposed to include for your final?
I have not.
You have not.
No,
Okay.
I have not.
Oh, there goes somebody with a broom. Have them come to my house.
That's my son. He's cleaning his bedroom, so just on the walk of, oh, I have to do my room.
So the whole purpose of this term, of course, is to learn about observation and assessment and recording. And when I first designed this course, I designed it for you to be able to go into a classroom and volunteer and or work in a classroom and to be able to observe children. But then COVID hit and nobody could go anywhere or do anything. So I redesigned it so that you would have one child that you could follow and put together a portfolio. And some of you have had experience with portfolio assessment before, and some of you may have not. So what we're going to do kind of a special kind of portfolio just simply because it's going to be virtual and um, and it's going to be based on the experiences that you're having in your observations this term on one particular child and family. So when you get down to the end of the term, you should have several observations that you can use and meetings with families and information that you could put together in this portfolio. And if you look at, I'll try to go here and share my screen. Sometimes I can't share my screen. Let's see if I can try that here and go to there. I think that's where I need to go. Okay, this is actually week 11 at the end of the term, and if you go to modules, it's at the bottom of the page. And this tells you what you need. And what it is basically your portfolio that you've put together, and you're going to schedule a family meeting where you share your portfolio with the family, with the parent and the children, or the child. And as you can see, there are several things that you need to have in your assessment, assessments that you need to have in your portfolio. And you need to have 7 out of the list that I have right here. And you can also add, there's a couple of fun things to do a little bit later on in the course that you can add as well. So here's the things that you need to consider. So for sure, you need the physical checklist for your child, the frequency count, class logs, speech and language checklist, self-esteem checklist, literacy rating scale, and time sampling checklist. Now, one of the difficulties is that, for instance, the speech and language checklist you may not be doing on the child that you're working with because they weren't available, and that's okay. Or you can choose to do another one, another speech and language checklist, so you can include that. But you can choose 7 of those, and a running record or an anecdotal record with an evaluation and an assessment with it. 2 work samples. So you should have created, you should have collected a work sample at the beginning of the term from the family, something that the child drew or painted. And then you'll collect another one towards the end of the term, and you'll include both of those. And for that assignment that happens with that work sample, you will be able to maybe tell whether or not the child has made any growth. So hopefully you had a work sample that was current at the beginning of the term, and then you'll have one that's also current for the child at the time that you collect it at the end of the term. And then you're going to include a report about all of the contacts that you've had with the family, and you can line that out any way you want to. You could say week 1, week 2, week 3, however you want to put that together. And then with the family, with the parents, you will come up with agreed upon goals for the child. And
Come to mute real quick, my little baby.
And there's one now. So, and they're going to be, and the goals based upon the observation and assessments that you've done, as well as the conversations that you've had with the parent. They need to be an educational goal, or they could be a behavioral goal, or they could be a social emotional goal, something like that. So do you have any questions so far? Clear as mud, as they say. So, okay, so this, and like I said, it's a virtual portfolio. So you're going to do it online when you submit it in week 11 as your final. But you could also do something really cool and print it off and give it to the parents in the portfolio that's an actual physical portfolio, which would be a fun thing to do for them. I think parents often feel excluded from their children's education because if they have children in regular school, they really aren't as engaged as much as maybe they might be in early childhood programs, and so they feel a little bit distant from that. Often parents will give over the education of their child to teachers in the classroom, but parents should feel comfortable as the primary educators of their children, and hopefully engaging with them in this course will also help them to see that they're just as much an expert sometimes as the teachers that they work with as far as their children go. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and you can see here's a grading rubric that I use for grading the final. And so you can see that each of the things that I ask you to do for the final are included and have a points value. And I tried to stay pretty close to the rubric and try to be fair when I'm assessing it. Certainly there's going to be individuality, so you can put it together in a Word document form, or you can put it together in a PowerPoint and just include the documents that you are supposed to have in it. Remember that an important part of an important part of what you do when you turn in a final is to make sure that you talk about when you do these assignments how they worked for you. That's an important piece of it. You may have had difficulty with some of the forms. Certainly, when you try to submit them, they often get messed up and they don't look like they're supposed to when you're recording in the online version. So, you can talk about those things, or the assignments that you liked the best. So in addition to all of the things that you're putting together for the child and family portfolio, you're going to talk about the learning that you have achieved this term and how the assignments were for you, and maybe the ones that you like the best. Whatever you want to do to personalize it for yourself. If I could follow you around and listen to and see the things that you do, I would love it, but I can't do that. So your purpose then in putting together this portfolio is to show me what you have done this term and help me to understand a little bit more about your skills in observation and recording and putting it all together in an assessment. Okay, any questions? Nope, everybody is satisfied? Okay, so one of the things that you might be wondering about is some of the assignments. Is anybody having any difficulties with assignments?
I just keep having a trouble with my child having sicknesses. So I was able to do the time sampling one on Tuesday, and then I plan to do the observation Wednesday, and she was out Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm going to try to do that one on Monday. But that's the only thing that I'm personally having troubles with.
Right, and you may, and some of the other students are also having difficulties. And even though I kind of caution people not to be behind on their assignments, certainly with the child study assignments, I know that if parents are ill, or if the children are ill, or if they're missing for some reason or other, they're out of town, or they have a crisis, that you're not going to get those assignments done on time. But all you have to do is just communicate that to me and let me know so that I can deal with that myself. And then if I forget and give you a bad grade, just let me know. And remind me that you didn't have access to your family. Any others that you're having difficulty with? You're going to have coming up. You're going to do the literacy rating scale. And so let me talk about that one for a minute. For that one, you're going to either have someone read a book to the child and you observe, which is actually the better way to do it if you can, or you read the book to the child and make notes about that. If you are the one that's reading the book to the child, then you might figure out a way to video it for yourself so that you can not have to take notes while you're reading, but then go back and then look at the video and you can record on the form what you saw. If you have someone else read to the child, then you can observe that and fill out the form as you go, or just take notes and then go back and fill out the form. It's a checklist kind of form, so it's not difficult. You either see it happen or you don't see it happen. But then after you're done, you should have an assessment of what you think you saw happen as far as the child's literacy skills, and also a reflection on how the assignment was for you, whether it was difficult or you had fun doing it, or this is what you learned about using this form, or whatever. Okay?
Does it have to be a one-on-one with can I observe during stories, like circle time with the group's story?
You can. That would be okay, except for be familiar with the form so that when you go into the situation where you're reading to the group, that you will know what to watch for this particular child. Okay? Because there are specific things that you'll need to know from the child. Alrighty. And does everybody know where you find all of these forms? That you can look at them ahead of time. If you go into modules, and here they are, all of them listed. So you can look at them ahead of time and become familiar with them before you have the assignment, so that you will be prepared when you do your observation. Okay? I want to talk about the work samples checklist. See if it'll show up. Yay! Okay, so here's the checklist. And to be able to use these forms in Word, you have to download them, and then you can write into them. So this is the work samples checklist, and this is the one that you shared with the parent when you got started. And there are some things in here that are not going to be checked off because you won't see them. Or the parents might not have that information. But it's an important part of your final project, and it's on the rubric. So one of the things that you're going to need to do is to find out from the parents what things that they think they see happen from this checklist. So for instance, there are some things that you might already know, like independently selects materials. So you might have already seen that from the child that you're working with. Or you can ask the parents and cleans up spills and messes, for instance. You can ask how that happens. And then you can just go over the whole checklist with the family and include the things. This is quite lengthy, but they're easy to check. So it's either you see it or you don't see it. The only thing that I ask is, if it's something that you have seen, just check it and leave it. But if it's something that's something that you asked the parents about and they gave you the information, just put a little I next to it that indicates that it's an interview. Okay? So, for instance, if you ask draws, prints, paints, and pastes, and the parents give you some examples of what the child does and how they do that, and it's an interview, just put a little I next to it. Okay? So, what else do you need to know? Back to okay. So that's about it, really. It's not really complicated, and mostly what you're going to find is just making the time to put everything together. Because as you do your assignments, you're going to be completing what you need to do with the family for your project. And you just need to put it all together. One thing that I want you to do, though, is if you have done an assignment and maybe there was something weird about it, or you missed something in the assignment, or I asked you for some more information, please go back and fix that before you turn it in your final project. And then that way, it'll be all up to date and ready to go. So take some time to review your work and make sure that you don't have any errors there. Okay? I'm available. So if you get to a point where you get stuck and you're not sure what to do, you need information on how to do something, you can call me if I'm available. Then I'll pick up and talk to you. If I don't pick up, it's probably because I don't recognize the number, and I'm trying to avoid a spam call. Those people are trying to extend my car warranty, or whoever it is. So if I don't pick up, leave a message and tell me who you are, and then that way I can call you back. Or you can email me and I'll get back to you too. So I'm pretty much available within 24 to 48 hours of the time that you contact me. I try not to mess around too much on weekends because that's kind of my time for family. But if it's a crisis or an emergency, just text me or send me an email because I'll check it once in a while. Okay? Okay. Are we done? Do we have any more questions? No? Everybody's happy? Okay. Once again, let me know if you have trouble getting in contact with your family so that I know why your assignments are missing if they are. It's only usually the child and family assignment that's going to be a problem. The others you should be able to do. If you're sick, let me know so that I can give you time to finish your assignments. Or if you have a crisis, I know there are some folks who have had death in the family and all kinds of crazy things going on. So just let me know. Stay in touch. I look forward to seeing what you put together for your portfolio. I love reading the information that you put in your assignments about the families that you're working with. It's really interesting to me, so keep that up. Um, uh, I do this not because I get paid big bucks, but because I like early childhood education and working with you all. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye unless you have any burning questions. Nope. Alrighty. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming, and you are the stars because you're here. And I'll put the recording probably in the announcements section so that you'll be able to listen to it again if you need to. All right?
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you, gals.
Bye.
Bye.